Pam Bondi is out for blood when it comes to the state of Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, Pam Bondi, she's going after them. Big. Because you know what? The state of Maine, for whatever reason, just thinks they can throw Title IX right out the window. Well, you can't actually. Donald Trump said that. Just a short time ago, remember? He got into a little bit of dust-up with Governor of Maine. This was something the NCAA has complied immediately. By the way, that's good. But I understand Maine is the Maine. Here, the Governor of Maine. Are you not going to comply with it? I'm not going to comply with state and federal laws. Well, we are the federal law, indeed you are. And you better do it. You better do it. Because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population, it doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. See you in court. Every state. Good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a really easy one. And enjoy your life after government. 'Cause I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Oh, Trump really knows how to go for the juggler, does he not? Well, he's right. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not a winning issue. I'm not sure what Maine is thinking, but Pam Bondi is like, you can't do it. Right. Okay, there's a lot. And you're in violation, so she's suing them civilly. Here we go today. The Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state domain is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. Yeah, okay, 'cause, you know, as a young woman, if you're playing soccer against somebody who is a biological male, well, I mean, soccer is rough enough as it is now. You're just layering on a whole other set of roughness. Right? It's really not fair. Not to mention the idea that somehow you might lose an opportunity to get first place in some kind of race because somebody else decides to come along that can't, they can't even see first base. Like, they're never even going to get close to it, right, if they compete as a biological male. But no, you're going to suddenly allow them to compete against the biological females. Like, what are you doing, guys? Like, come on, you're supposed to be for women. Are you not? And yet you're not. You're not for women at all. So this got presented to the AG of Maine today on CNN. And here's his response, which is basically, sorry, this is our position. This is what we believe in. I don't want my blood to boil. Too much so. But we'll check in on this here. What do you say to parents who are concerned about this issue with their own kids? There's a lot of parents out there who argue, with anecdotal cases, that their children have been at risk or injured in certain cases, competing alongside transgender athletes. There's also, for example, a pole vault who had competed unsuccessfully in Maine against boys a few years ago. They transitioned. They later won a state championship when competing against girls. There's concerns among parents about a competitive advantages. There, what do you say to those folks? I don't give a rat's ass. Also, a couple of things. You know what you know? Title IX. The Maine Human Rights Act. They're not designed in order to create an opportunity to win. They're designed to create an opportunity to fully appreciate engagement in sports in particular. No discrimination based on sex. And so understanding that parents may have concerns, I guess, what I'd offer is there have been trans students who have been participating for years in school sports without there being any issue. There has been this raising of a spectre that there may be some safety concern, the spectre that there may be some harms. But they're really, other than pointing to, a student winning over some other student, there hasn't been any sort of evidence to support that. The participation of trans girls in girls' sports here in Maine has caused the problems that are being alleged. But let me also get to something else, right? Which is Maine is going to follow the law. We don't get to make a law up. We don't get to decide when we're going to follow the law. Title IX in the Maine Human Rights Act provide what law it is that Maine has to follow. And we believe that we are following the law by allowing trans girls to participate in sports. So if parents are concerned about that, if there are parents that think we should discriminate against trans girls, they need to go to Congress, they need to go to the legislature, to see about having those laws changed until those laws, or we are confident that Title IX and the Naming Rights Act supports what's happening. And again, it's been that way for years. But now that it's an issue that the president believes he can win on distracting from all of the other problems that his administration is creating, that's why I think it's being raised to such the level that it is now. Actually, I think one of the reasons it's been raised to such the level it is now is because, for whatever reason, with all this pronoun nonsense and all this need to transition and the sort of movement surrounding the transition space has caused a lot of confused kids to transition. Okay, this has become a thing. You just look at the numbers. I mean, a couple years ago, it was 0, 1. And now, all of a sudden, those numbers have escalated massively. And you get a lot of people that are confused about themselves going through hard times in their life. And suddenly this becomes the solution, the magic bullet. Oh, you're just the wrong gender. There you go. Oh, and if you're a biological boy, you might just actually win those races that you couldn't win before. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just going to call it like it is. You saw the thing out in Portland recently, or it was in Washington. My gosh. I mean, that biological male competing with biological females, just blowing through, winning the race handily, no problem. And yet never being able to perform like that when racing against boys. So I'm sort of just disgusted. That was a giant FU from the AG of Maine. That's what that was. They got their heads up there. What's when it comes to this stuff, What it's not, right? It's not fair, and is anybody gonna stand up for girls? I mean, think what Lake and Riley went through, for goodness sakes. I mean, not only the humiliation of having to have some biological man win the race, but for God's sake, you're gonna make her change in front of the biologically born male. And then you're going to put the biologically born male as Sports Athlete Woman of the Year. It's mind-blowing. And if somebody doesn't actually address this and stand up for it, what happens to girls in this entire process? I'll tell you, the Liberal UK just came out today, moments ago, and you had them ruling on the definition of female. And basically what they said was, a woman that was born woman is a woman, okay? And that's not disputable. It's really sort of crazy how they try and gaslight you, okay? You get all the female parts, but you're not really a female. I'm thinking about that apple emoji, the pregnant male. Give me a break. All right? Anyway, this is what they said. They're at the court in the UK, basically. They were trying to come to terms with the word woman and how you would define a woman. Haha. Basically, do those terms refer to biological woman or biological sex, and as a woman to be interpreted as extending to a trans woman with a gender recognition certificate. And what they said was by that, I mean a person born male who now possesses a gender recognition certificate, amending her gender to female, and sex to be interpreted as including what I will refer to as a certification sex. The unanimous decision, this is the important part. Okay, the unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2, or we often refer to drum roll, please boom, a biological woman and a biological sex. Okay, like why must they complicate it? I'll tell you, if they were smart, they wouldn't. You know, who knows this one? James Carville, who just told all those crazy progressives to take their pronouns and shove. It can work together on pronoun politics. He said we cannot. I don't look. I think that you're not. This election did not teach you how damaging that is. I don't think there's anything that I can tell you and you say, this guy is stuck in another century, not another decade, and he represents nothing to do with the future of our movement. I can accept that. You're not really going to hurt my feelings. So maybe we could have a kind of amicable split here. And we'll go to post in 2026. Because you don't ever run against. They never run against a Republican. Okay, all they do is run against other Democrats. I don't quite understand why you're so anxious to have the word Democrat in the description of what you do. But maybe we can have a amicable split here, and you go your way and we go our way. And after the election, we come together and see how much common ground we can find. Yeah. Well, good luck. Because AOC increasingly seems to be the leader of that party. And you guys, I get it, like, the Democrats are up a creek without a paddle because they're splintering their own party. Get the AOC nut jobs who are like, okay, pronounce city. And then you have people that may have been embraced a bit by the MAGA movement. Because you think of sort of blue-collar workers that were sort of the lifeblood of the Democrat Party, and they migrated over to Donald Trump because they wanted somebody who's going to look out for the American economy. I mean, we've been dealing with crazy inflation. This, that, and the other. And yet this woman is the one who's so many Democrats. I say it's good. You know what? It's good. Let them do this all day long, because if that's all you have to fight up against, you're in a good place if you're part of the MAGA camp. Because this woman represents absolutely the opposite. And yet she's making money, hand over fist, in her political war chest. So you gotta wonder, what are her ultimate opportunities? What is her real destiny? You've got a new poll out that says most Democrats see her as the head of the party. Even though, well, you know, this congressman doesn't. And so, who would you say is the leader of the Democratic Party right now? Well, the leader in the House of Representatives is Hakeem Jeffries, and he will be the next Speaker of the House. Do you think he is the voice, though, of the Democratic Party? Like, is that who the Democrats should be rallying around, pushing forward? That's who should be driving the message. Well, I think we've got a whole new generation of talent people who are speaking out on economic issues. I gave a speech in Cleveland on economic patriotism, our vision of how we're going to bring prosperity and manufacturing back around the country. But the most urgent issue is to stand up against the attacks on the rule of law, on the Constitution, on universities, and then to make sure that we elect Hakeem Jeffries Speaker of the House. So we have one check on Donald Trump's unconstitutional actions. Do you think in terms of just political strategy? Obviously, you all have a lot of priorities, I hear you, about what you're trying to do. But in terms of political strategy, is that step one, getting the House back in the midterms? I think step one is to stand up for the Constitution. We have people in this country who are getting knocks on doors from police, who are not getting due process, some of them deported. Some of them deported to an El Salvador prison, where they're potentially being tortured, and that needs to stop. You have the Supreme Court 9-0 saying that this is unconstitutional, that the Trump administration needs to facilitate the return. This is a huge crisis. I think every Democrat... I'm sorry, forgive me. I mean, you just said it yourself. Mo, you just said it. They said 9. I mean, this is not even debatable. And you got some liberals on there too, 9, so that he does have the authority and ability to do this. Because, like I said, the federal government has all the power, right? We've been talking about Alina Habba going after the New Jersey governor. I mean, she's like, look, we're not having it. But here's the warning for you, buddy. You cannot stand in the way of the federal government. When it comes to these deportations, this is the federal government's job. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has ordered local police in the state to stop cooperating with immigration officials. And now we did reach out to the governor's office for comment. But shockingly, we've yet to hear back now. The U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba, is here with more. Is that true? Do you have proof of that? Have you heard that to be true? Let me give you a very brief summary of what we do know. We know that the governor has on his website currently dos and don'ts for his local state of law enforcement. Those dos and don'ts instruct them not to cooperate with illegal immigrants who have administrative warrants that have been issued by the court after due process, saying that they are no longer welcome here. They have gone through the court system. They are to be deported. It is instructing them to go against our federal rules, our executive orders, and I am unfortunately going to announce on your show tonight. Sean and I want it to be a warning for everybody that I have instructed my office today to open an investigation into Governor Murphy, to open an investigation into Attorney General Platkin, who has also instructed the state police not to assist any of our federal. And they list our federal agencies that are under my direction, the FBI, the DEA. All these individuals that are trying to clean up our streets in New Jersey not to cooperate, that will no longer stand. I don't get it. Like, how can you even say that we're not going to cooperate with federal law enforcement? Because we have our own rules here, in our own little state. Well, you know what? You belong to the United States of America. Okay, like this is one unit. We're one economic and political unit. And when it comes to the border, I don't know how many times I have to say this. Like, it's sort of mind-blowing to me that they're making this their issue when it comes to the border of the federal government. Has the responsibility and the power, which is exactly why Governor Abbott down in Texas, when he wanted the wall to go back up, and Biden's like, no, we're getting rid of the wall. He had not a leg to stand on because the federal government had the power to tear down that wall, as crazy as it sounded. I mean, I was like, Texas, I'm with you. You want to get the heck out of there. Like you might want to. I could see the succession happening because they were so frustrated. Well, if you're New Jersey, it's a little harder. If you're New York, it's a little harder. You know. I mean, unless maybe you want to join Canada, huh? Maine could join Canada? What do you think, guys? I think they'd be perfect for Canada, you know. I like Maine. It's a beautiful state, but they may have more in common with Canada at this point. This is so silly. It really is. Like they're making something out of something that they shouldn't be making anything out of. Because it used to be that there was a place and time. We could all agree on this stuff. And now they have just driven this wedge. Because it's about one thing and one thing only. Right. We hate Trump? That's it. They hate Donald Trump no matter what.